Good morning, welcome back to Whitechapel Farm and our Barns to Homes project. Well done for having stuck through the last two videos. I know there's been a lot of talking, and here I go, I'm talking straight away. I'm going to make sure there's some fun stuff in this one at least for you to watch rather than me or Joe talking. I'm just out with the dog at the moment, just getting my thoughts in motion for what we've got to do today. We're in winter, and despite it being a really nice day, I know it's cloudy and spitting, but it's actually quite a nice day compared to some of the ones we've had over Christmas. So we've got through Christmas. We're now ready to start some of the tasks around the property. And I'm going to completely honest with everybody, the first year is going to be demolition. I'm hoping that's going to be cool. So demolition. The planning application shows this main barn here. I'll see if I can get it behind me. Yeah, so this main barn, there, that goes a long way down as you saw in the pictures. But yeah, basically there's lots of little add-ons that don't really go and need to come down. You know, we know my mum's going to be living in one of the houses. She'll want a garden. You can probably see the dog behind me somewhere. He's enjoying himself. Yeah, she wants to have some nice gardens. We've got to strip some of the barns down around there. We've got to basically get rid of some of the old sheds, some of the bits that aren't safe, and expose the original 200 and something year old barn. So that's what I'm going to be working on in the first year, and it's going to break me. I know it. Especially while I'm doing a full-time job, which does involve international travel. So in between traveling everywhere and being jet lagged, I've got to renovate this place. Whose idea was this? Anyway, so we're going to get started though. Over Christmas was fun, great having the family round. We did have some emergencies to deal with. You know, we moved in literally just before Christmas, as we said on the last video, and it was emotional to say the least. We had burst pipes the day we moved in. We had a boiler that was leaking everywhere, so we basically had to call an engineer out. I was really hoping we could repair it, given the fact that we're going to put a nice ground source heat system in. I kind of wanted to just try and repair it. Guy came out in emergency literally just before Christmas, absolute champion. I'll probably share his details at some point in one of the other videos, but he came out. We couldn't repair it, so we had to rip it out and put it back in. £5,000 straight out of the budget before we'd even started. We had to deal with that. The other thing I had to do, we had a huge holly tree right outside the side of the main farmhouse, and unfortunately I had to cut them both down. Yeah, so I got the old DeWalt chainsaw on that, and I'll show you guys the DeWalt chainsaw in another video. It's absolutely fantastic. It's electric, my first electric chainsaw. And it just cuts through everything like butter, and the batteries are really good on it. And despite all of the videos online saying that petrol is better, I thought these were great. So we had to do that. We've had a good walk around the plot. We've seen that there's some of the dry stone walls have got a challenge, so I'm probably gonna have to get somebody out for that. And that's more to follow. But the first task that we're going to be getting cracked on with is the kennels. So Joe's mentioned the kennels. They're about 5 meters by, 14 meters. Let's see if Joe, can you put a picture of the kennels somewhere around here, or put me in picture with the kennels? You can tell I don't do the video editing, can't you? So basically we're going to do the kennels so that we have got some additional storage space in the short term. But we'll get the kennels going. It's full on demolition mode. There's a wall in there, there's stalls in there, but the roof looks good. There's some electrics in there. I'll probably have to get that sorted out at some point. So before I get anybody else in now, for the architect and I'll have to get a structural engineer. I know I'm going to have to. We're going to start ripping that out. So we're going to go into full time lapse mode, and I'll probably chat to you guys all in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and give you an update on how we're getting along. Hopefully we don't get too dirty, and hopefully it's not too dusty. It's going to be fun. Back-breaking fun. Speak to you all in a minute. Enjoy the time lapse. So, back in the kennels, it's been a couple of days since the time lapse you've just been watching. We had to down tools. I'll show you a little bit on a walk around what caused us to stop and down tools. But effectively, in the last week, we had to call out a structural engineer for in here. We have also had the architects, so that's less of a problem that we stopped just because I wanted to get their advice on a few things before we put in, either the clash queue or the pivot development. We're still ooming and ahhing over which one. But basically, while we were cleaning away at the barn, I noticed that some of the roof beams weren't completely perfect, and also where they go into the stone wall behind me, it looked like parts of the wall were coming down and away, and so we did a bit of cleaning around there. It definitely is coming away, so that's why we got the structural engineer out, just to work out how we take all this down safely, so that they can come in, do the laser scan, prepare their drawings and everything. But effectively, the wall behind me is leaning in and starting to crumble away in the old stone. Not surprising, it's a couple of 100 years old, with the lime mortar, but the outside wall is starting to lean out, so effectively you're getting this separation of the walls, and I don't want to be swinging sledgehammers, using chop saws and everything in here with an unstable wall. I'll walk you around it in a second and talk you through it, but effectively we need to brace the joists in here. That's probably even the wrong word. The timber that's holding the roof up, the joists. We've got aqua props. They've arrived this week. That's great. So we've got a lot of aqua props. We're going to hold them up. But effectively, we need to just stabilise the roof, and then we can continue to take all this down. We can bang, etc. I've got some angled acro props for the outside, but we've just got to be prepared that as we take away, the detritus, the garden beds, the mess, from the outside wall, that we don't disturb that wall too much, so then I can get the angled acros up with some scaffold boards. I've got to watch how to do that. I may have to get some advice on that one. Okay, so going now in the hand, so you don't have to look at my face anymore. So here you can see the block wall that they put in. It's holding the roof beams up there. These are actually pretty good. Architects and everyone wants us to keep them and clean them. I was going to replace them with some nice oak, so we'll see, maybe save some cost. But this is the wall that they put up. It's clearly because there was an issue with the stone wall, but it's really good. As we've cleaned out, you can see that it's not as bad as it was. However, that's the wall that I've got the problems with. So I'll come around here, avoiding the stuff on the floor, all the aqua props that have arrived. But effectively, what the previous owners have done at some point, and this is a long time ago, don't forget this is a working farm when we got it, but effectively, looking up here, this is the original roof structure, and then they've put up this section here to hold the gates for the pens for either lambing or the birthing kennels for the dogs, etc. And originally they've nailed it in at both ends over these doors, one there, and this one's still nailed in here. And effectively what I think's been happening is every time the kennel doors have been shut, it's pulling on this section, and it's pulling the old, very old wooden lintels away, so they're coming this way from the wall. So what we had, and this is what made me stop the other day with Kieran, but basically what we have here is vibrations, pulling. This wall is starting to move, the lime mortar's given away, and it's starting to crumble on the inside. So not great, especially as I want to take this lot down, but effectively there's not much holding this beam up, just here. As you can see, it's gone. So we've got to get aqua props under that pretty quickly. So that's going to be the first one we do properly. You can see inside the door, it's kind of separating and coming away from the wall. There's not much holding that on now, so I don't really like being stood under here, but it should be all right. There's a lot of stone above my head. So yeah, I expect once we take the load off, when we put the acros up and get that square again, this lot might start falling in. But you can kind of see as you go down everywhere under each beam, where because that first end's going, it's putting more pressure on the remaining, and they're all starting to go. This one is quite bad here. You can see it's bubbling out. So yeah, basically more work that I can't do. Once I've got these propped, this wall, you know, the lazy way, the easy way, you know, which is what the kind of architect wanted, was to take down, put it in with, you know, block and stud wall it. I want to keep that as stone. I want to keep it looking original. Now I don't want it looking like that side. So yeah, the outside section, just go here. So what they've done is they've built a garden bed on the bottom of the wall. You can see there's not much foundation to this. I don't know how deep it goes into concrete. I'm going to say not a lot. There's not much foundation there, but this bed they've put on has probably kept the mortar wet that they've used. They've done some concrete repairs, but lime mortar walls, it's kept it wet. And where I started putting away the plants the other day, it's crumbled away at the bottom. So that's the foundation for this wall. And then basically you can see here, this is a really good illustration of it actually. It's starting to pull away. Now, the structural engineer, the architect, think it's not a major issue. It doesn't seem to have been moved recently in, you know, in the not too distant future. It's obviously had some work done to it with sand and cement mortar, but basically I've just got to be very careful when we're taking stuff down from the outside. So I'll clean this wall off. Once it's acro propped inside, I'll probably prop it on the outside here and use the angle acros and get that nice and secure. And you know, we're kind of cleaning this all away from the bottom as well. Bit of a shame, it's a nice little garden bed, but in reality it's got to go. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's get the time lapse on the go.
Renovation in our eyes, we'll rise above it all. Stand tall with the challenge we face. We stand proud and chase. Aim high. Aim high. From every setback, we find strength to attack. Oh yeah. Rise up, rise up, rise up. We gonna climb up the top. Rise up, elevate and never stop.
It's on the right, you'll see it. He just turned it around so it could go out backwards. 2 degrees. Masters. About to do his PhD. Turned it around to go out backwards. Wonders never cease. This is probably going to get time lapsed out, but we'll see. Maybe I'll keep this bit in. Embarrassing. But I'm talking to the camera. Whoa. Okay. That was hard work. We're going to leave it there now for this video. But I'm going to walk you through, show you what we've done and why I'm stopping now. But yeah, basically, that was hard work. I'm just going to finish off by burning a little bit of the old rotten wood that I can't reuse anywhere, and I can't really use anywhere in the woodland, you know, I like to help with banking or creating like some fungi paradises or whatever for the funguses. But what I really wanted to show, because the time lapse probably doesn't do it justice. Joe and Kieran did a great job moving the front bed. The internal stuff when Kieran helped, it was great. So Kieran's had to go. Is not obviously. Probably not told you. Kieran's had to go for his PhD in Rome. Lucky boy. Yeah, so he was able to help for a couple of days before he left. Joe and Kieran did a great job on that front bed. But just to show the amount of rock we've had to move. Basically, this is all it. Everywhere here. All this stone and rock. We've moved out of there, we've moved all of this rubble out, and the time lapse, I know the time lapse doesn't do it justice. It just doesn't. So basically, it's just crazy. The amount of stone there was in that wall, in the garden bed, and in the floor. There's a load of paving stone in there as well. Which hasn't come up yet. So the flags from the floor have still got to come up. But yeah, basically, I think we've got to the point where I've stripped out enough so that I can see basically what we need to do in here. But yeah, I'll just see if I can quickly turn the camera around. So here we go. We've pretty much got everything out down to the ground floor where it's just this concrete now. So I'm gonna have to get a breaker in and break all that up. But I don't want to be doing any too big a vibration until we've got the guy in to come and have a look at this wall. So this wall now is ready to be taken down, the internal wall. I'd like the guy that's going to do the work, whoever that is, I've not even decided yet who that is, but I'd like the guy who's going to be doing that work to come and assess it first before I take it down and give me some advice on what he wants doing. So I've got to basically just clean the top here off. That'll take me, 2 minutes in the week. But yeah, basically there's the last flags to take out, all down here. But most of the big stone is out now. This internal wall here will come down, but it'll be replaced with block because it's not going to be seen. I need to get the electrician in. So there's a load of electrics here, and there's some on the other side for the tariff feeding for the solar panels. So the electrician's going to come in and sort that out. I'm going to get him to put a couple of sockets on here temporarily. And then when he's done that, he can remove this socket, which means I can take down this last bit of battening. And then effectively it's cleaning and sweeping and getting everything, all the concrete out and going down in terms of level, just so that we can get the ground source heat system in and get that connected. But effectively we are pretty much done in here for this video. And just flicking it back to me on this way again. Yeah, we're pretty much done in here on this video. It's hard work. Whenever you see people do this kind of stuff on videos, it's hard work. It's taken me a few more days longer than I thought. So if you made it this far through the video, comment, tell me how many days you think we've been lifting all this stone and rubble and getting this stuff out of here. We've moved a few ton of block, and I've still got to do a few more. Not including all this paving stone here, all these flags that are all over the place. So let me know. The next video, we're going to be back in here in demolition mode again. I'm hoping though by then the electrician's coming and done his stuff. I'll see if I can get a bit of that on camera. But basically, electrician in, stonemason in to advise, concrete coming out, and then we start to get the level down in here. But yeah, thanks for sticking with this video. Please like, subscribe if you want to see more of this craziness. And any advice for me, please comment. Any criticism, if I'm doing anything wrong or if you've done something in a different way, please comment, let me know. I'd rather learn now rather than be cocking things up. So if there's anything you know or have done before, let me know. Like, share, subscribe. It's always going to be greatly appreciated. We'll go from there. I'm now going to have a break, a cup of tea, and then I'm going to go help Joel do some of the gardening, get the wood chipper out and do some chipping of wood, and go and finish off some of the composting system that she's going to need. So that's it for this video. Next video, we'll be getting on with the electrics and the floor. So thanks for sticking with it, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye bye.